Hello skaters, and welcome back to the Moxi Skates YouTube channel. Hello Juniper. So today I was asked the question, how long does it take to get good at roller skating? What a question. That question is honestly very hard to answer because it's kind of relative. There are so many factors and things that your progress kind of depends on, and the type of skating you're doing, how often you're skating. There's so much to it that kind of puts people's progress all over the board. In my experience, I have learned that every single person is different with their progression in skating and the natural skill and ability they bring to the table when they start picking up skating. Some people are naturally more athletic than others. Some people have less fear in them when they're starting to learn, and it's easier for them to push their progression and try more difficult tricks or obstacles depending on what type of skating they're doing than others. And sometimes it's just genetic. Also, depending on where you live is a huge factor. So I myself live in the Midwest. We have really harsh winters and we have really harsh summers. People that live in, let's say, California, they have pretty decent weather 365 days out of the year, and they can skate almost every single day. So if you can skate every day, of course you're going to progress a lot faster than someone who can only skate when it's not brutally hot out or brutally cold out with icicles falling off your house. If you're an indoor skater, not all indoor facilities are accessible every single day, so sometimes that takes into a factor. So with all of that being said, let's put the location aside and let's just talk about who you are. Every person is different. Some people have a stronger drive than others. Some people just want to casually skate for fun and skate once a week or once a month. And their progression is going to be much different than somebody who is highly motivated and wants to go out there every day or every other day, and they have really strong goals set. And that's another thing, is if you're setting goals for yourself and you know what you want to see out of yourself in skating, those are really important things to have, because if you don't have any goals and you're just kind of out there having fun, which is perfectly fine, it's harder to try to achieve something if you don't know what it is you're trying to achieve. So I always recommend setting some goals for yourself, whether they be really simple things. If you're trying to learn how to do backward skating or crossovers or 180s, having a goal for yourself, especially if you tell yourself, I want to have this trick by the end of the month. That's a really good thing to have, because then you are pushing yourself towards something, and it's always good to manifest and visualize, and that helps build the progression. Also, progression isn't always going to be constant. You're not always just going to be moving upwards with your progression. Unfortunately, you're going to have off days, or you're going to have moments where you feel like you're plateaued and you're not getting any better, or you're going to take some steps back before you take more steps forward. And that's honestly just part of the journey. Just the other day, I had a skate session that felt really terrible. I felt like I couldn't lock into any of my tricks. I felt really slow. I didn't feel like I had a lot of power in my skating, and I couldn't really do anything that was difficult in my mind. So it just felt like I haven't progressed in the past couple months. But if I look at videos of myself from a couple months ago to now, I see that I have progressed, but there's just days that you have that are just off, and you feel like you're off and you get in a negative headspace about your skating. And if that happens to you, you're definitely not alone. That's very normal. So it can feel sometimes like you're plateauing or you're taking some steps back. But if you do feel that way, just know that if you keep pushing yourself and you keep putting wheels on your feet, you're going to take farther steps forward. So let's say every 2 steps back, you take 3 steps forward. Sometimes failures are the best way to actually improve yourself. And when I say failures, I don't mean that you failed that day, but falls and if you're trying to learn something and it's just not clicking, those things actually help us grow, because we're learning from the things that we're doing possibly wrong, or we're learning from the frustrations that we create in ourselves. And then when the skating feels good the next time you go out, you're going to strive for that feeling even more, and it's going to motivate you to keep trying. Another factor is just what type of skating are you looking to do? If you're trying to get good at flat ground cruising around to the point where you feel very comfortable, it's very possible to get pretty decent at that in a short period of time if you are consistent with your practice and you have the dedication, the motivation, and you're setting goals for yourself. If you are trying to get really good at artistic skating, like the figure skating, or you're trying to get really good at jam skating, or you're trying to get really good at skate park skating and doing all those crazy tricks, the learning curve is going to be a little bit different because there are obstacles now and there are fancy footwork and kind of using your brain and your body to all work together to get your feet to do some crazy thing to the rhythm of music, you know? So of course there's going to be a bit of a learning curve with the different styles of skating. So just keep that in mind if you see people that are getting pretty good at trail skating and you're trying to focus on a different style of skating and you feel like you're just not progressing as fast as them, please keep in mind that there is a different learning curve with every style of skating. I practice some dance skating at the roller rink here and there, but I'm not very consistent at my practice. So that style of skating is still very difficult for me, and I feel like my progression is very slow. But I know that my progression is slow because I'm not focusing on that type of skating. I'm not super consistent with how often I go and practice. So I know that that's kind of on me for not getting out there and trying more often. Building my skills at the skate park happened a little bit faster for me just because I was really motivated to try to get to a certain point with that style of skating, and I was going all the time trying to get better to the point where I felt comfortable going to the skate park and learning things on my own. Another big factor in the progression of your skating is your background. Some people have no, I want to say athletic background, but no background in sports or other athletic activities when they start skating, and other people have tons of background in athletic sports. So a great example of that is Michelle Stylen has a background in cheerleading, and those, the foundation of the skills that they already have really comes through in their skating. And then there are other skaters that I know that have had no background in sports or any other athletic activities at all, and it took them just a little bit longer to learn some of those same tricks just because they didn't have the muscle memory already in place, and it was brand new skills that they're trying to bring to a sport that's on wheels. So it just adds another interesting dynamic to that. So my point with that is if you have some muscle memory built up and a foundation already in a different sport that you're able to bring into roller skating, it is going to help your progression a little bit. And again, every person is different. This might not be true for everyone, but I'm just throwing that out there to not get too hard on yourself if you feel like you're not learning as fast as those around you, because everyone has a different background, everyone has a different schedule and when they can go out and skate, and everyone has just a different body and how their body reacts to things and how their body does things. Another thing I want to talk about is the journey. So skating is a journey. There's not really a destination. So to say how long does it take to get good at roller skating, I don't think that question can really be answered necessarily, because skating is a journey all in itself and it never ends. It really doesn't. I was recently talking with my friend John, who has been skating for 20 years, and he said he still learns all the time from kids that are starting out or from beginners starting out. So you can always learn from the student. And what I mean by that is the progression really never ends, because even if you've been skating for 20 years and you're one of the best in the world, there are always going to be things that you have yet to learn, or things that you can tweak about your skating, or building up your style a little bit more. And when people start surfacing and you're watching them skate and how they learn, it's going to kind of spark new ideas in you. Or you might see a friend of yours who does something that you've never seen before or that you've never tried yourself before that sparks a new interest in learning something new. I honestly can't imagine ever getting to a point in my skating where I have nothing left to learn. There's so many styles of skating, there's so many tricks in every single style of skating that I just really cannot fathom that I'll ever get to a point where I've learned all that there is, because it is endless and it's always evolving. New things are always coming into every style of skating. Even if you're doing just trail skating, there's always going to be room for improvement. Style is a huge thing. Style is something that sometimes comes naturally, sometimes comes with focusing on maybe keeping your arms in and not being so flaily, or keeping your legs closer together and not so far apart. There's so many different aspects to style, but style is another thing that is constantly evolving in every person's skating. So yeah, you can get the fundamentals of skating down, but then your style and the way that you look when you're skating, if you look comfortable and confident, that's always going to be changing and always something that is going to affect your progression. So with all of that said, I know I didn't really answer your question, but I did that on purpose because there really isn't an answer. My recommendations for you, if you're just starting out and you have goals to get pretty decent at skating, just keep consistency, keep the dedication, set goals for yourself, and try not to compare yourself to others. I think it's great to skate with other people and get inspired by others. I find that to be a huge part of progression. However, comparing yourself to those around you or those you see on the internet and how quickly they built up their skills is just not going to be good for you or anyone else, because like I said already several times in this video, every single person is going to be different no matter what. Another thing that I highly recommend is use your resources. When I started skating 8 years ago, there weren't a lot of YouTube videos out there at all of how to roller skate, and there weren't a lot of people doing it yet, so you didn't have people kind of all over the place that were roller skating that you can make friends with or go out and skate with to kind of help motivate you. So it was really difficult back then to stay motivated and have a consistent practice and always be going out and skating with other people and knowing like the breakdown of certain tricks to learn them faster. So now that those resources are available, please use them. There's Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, you name it, you know, they're out there. There's tons of YouTube tutorials. There's so many different teachers out there teaching all the different styles of skating. So those resources are definitely available now. I know that certain areas might not have as many resources, but online there are plenty. Please use them. Check out different teachers. Check out different tutorials, because everyone teaches differently, so you might learn something from one person that you didn't from the other. If there are people offering classes in your area, just make sure they're a trusted professional. But that's always very helpful too, to have a one-on-one experience with someone, or someone who can actually look at your skating in person and give you feedback on how you can learn a little bit quicker or change what you're doing to get tricks to come a little bit easier. Don't get too hard on yourself. Try to keep a positive outlook on things, because this isn't something that's going to happen overnight. Skating sometimes can feel like it's easy and that's why everyone's doing it, but it's really not. I think that there's a lot of difficulty when it comes to skating, so give yourself a pat on the back for even getting out there and putting wheels on your feet, because that itself is something to congratulate yourself for. Skate with friends when you can, because it is always nice to have more inspiration and motivation when you're skating with others. Use your resources, and last but certainly not least, please remember that skating is a journey. There's not a destination. Set your goals, manifest what you want out of skating, but still try to have fun with it, because the whole point of this is to have fun, right? So I'm sorry I didn't have a easy answer for you that yes, you can get good at skating in 2 months. Sure, you certainly can get good at skating in 2 months, but it could also take someone 2 years to get good at skating. So I don't like to put a number on things. I feel like that's not the best mindset to have. But if you're setting your goal for achieving certain tricks or certain skills in a certain amount of time, and you're working towards those things and you're staying consistent, I find that to be really helpful, and I really think that that will help push the progression in a really positive way. If you have any experience with things that you've changed in your skate journey that helped you progress a little bit faster or helped you learn skills a little bit quicker, please put them in the comments below. If you have other advice for beginner skaters, I'm sure they would really love to hear it, so let us know in the comments. So with that, get out there and skate, watch some videos, get motivated, get inspired, stay positive, give yourself a pat on the back, and enjoy the journey.